So, the good news is, Vat19 seems to be strafing away from AI in their commercials. The bad news is, they're starting to use it in their box art. Oh, and while I'm at it, they've also failed to address the Etsy scandal. So yeah, while Vat19 seems to be strafing away from AI in their commercials, to the point of making these kinds of jokes.
Any tool that achieves self-expression is art.
I'm using generative AI.
Accept that. Dig deep and find the tool that unlocks your truth. I don't know.
I had AI make a list for you.
People don't like it when we do that, Brian.
That's Lonnie. He's like if AI was a person who talked and existed in real life.
So, from that alone, you may assume that, oh, they must have learned their lesson. They're not using AI in their commercials anymore, and they're even mocking it again. Yes, but... Now hold on. I know a lot of you are gonna say, wait, you can't just assume that it's AI generated, it could be humanly done. I didn't assume it. Well, I did, but I also had other people check to see if they thought it was AI generated, and they agreed that it is. In fact, here's what one of my friends has to say about it. Take it away, Ephrom.
There's an article from a fellow named Rob Laughter on Medium which goes over 14 telltale signs to look out for if you want to determine if an image has used AI. Funnily enough, one only needs to look at the first thing listed, bizarre hand shapes, in order to find evidence this image was, in fact, done by AI. Notice the bizarre hand anatomy in the very first panel. Or the finger on this person's hand that randomly blurs near the end for some reason. One person is also missing legs for some reason, even though everybody else has legs and they have legs in every other part of this image. However, even that is not enough proof in of itself. After all, a human artist could have just done something bizarre. However, another thing needs to be taken into consideration: its similarity to other pieces of AI art that one has come across. Remember, AI is not really able to create pieces of art that look significantly different from other AI work. So naturally, you are going to be able to determine if something is AI, just as you'd be able to tell if, say, a piece of art is made by the same artist as a different piece of art, by looking for specific identifiers and stylistic similarities that act as a metaphorical signature or watermark. Fans of my channel very well might remember my commentary on Fortifier, somebody who used AI art for the thumbnail of his video, and even hearted comments which mocked those who would take issue with him doing such a thing. And said thumbnail looks incredibly similar to the art Vat19 is using.
So, I guess that Vat19 hasn't learned their lesson fully, because even though they stopped using it for their commercials, or at least are starting to, they're now using it for their box art. Look, let me rephrase what I said in the last video. I don't just want them to avoid using it for the commercials, I want them to avoid using generative AI, period. End of story. I should have been more specific, but this is still bad, because box art is still a form of art. And AI slaps art across the face no matter what type of art it is. At least, generative AI. Couple that with the fact that they still have not yet acknowledged the Etsy scandal. It's a recipe for bad business decisions. Not bad people, bad business decisions. Let me be clear. I do not think anyone in Vat19 is a bad person, and I will never think that. I just think that their business practices are beyond shitty. I also believe that they have the ability to change. We shouldn't try to leave them behind or try to avoid them at all costs. We should try to call them out and hopefully change them for the better. That's what we should be doing with everyone, if possible at least. But before I end things off, I want to bring up something that's loosely related but semi off topic. Vat19 is not a dropshipping company. They never have been, they never will be. Dropshipping is when you sell items you don't have inventory for. Vat19 clearly has an inventory, as we've seen multiple times in their videos. There are many reasons to want to reform Vat19, but this dropshipping claim should not and cannot be one of them, because it's untrue. Anyways, that's it for now. I'm Carmelin's JTB Syntactis, supported by the Ephrom#, hashtag reform Vat19.
Vat19!